Imagine, for a moment, a world locked in ice. Vast glaciers, miles thick, cover much of the northern hemisphere. Sea levels are hundreds of feet lower than they are today, exposing vast stretches of land that are now deep beneath the waves. This isn't a scene from a sci-fi movie. This was our world during the last ice age, a frozen, formidable planet. And it was in this world that one of the greatest stories of human migration began, a journey across a lost continent of ice and tundra, a journey that would lead to the peopling of the Americas. This lost land, a bridge connecting two worlds, is known as Beringia. Today, the Bering Strait is a roughly 55-mile stretch of frigid water separating Siberia from Alaska. But tens of thousands of years ago, it was a massive subarctic plain, nearly 1,000 miles wide. It wasn't a barren wasteland of solid ice. Instead, picture a vast, cold steppe tundra, a treeless landscape teeming with life. Herds of woolly mammoths, steppe bison, and wild horses roamed this expansive territory, pursued by formidable predators like scimitar-toothed cats and giant short-faced bears. And among them were small, resilient bands of human hunter-gatherers. Who were these intrepid explorers? Genetic evidence tells us they were a distinct population that had separated from their ancestral Siberian groups. For thousands of years, they lived in isolation on this land bridge, adapting to its harsh conditions. This period is often called the Beringian standstill. It wasn't just a quick dash across. It was a long-term settlement. They became masters of this environment, developing the unique skills, tools, and cultural knowledge needed to survive in a world of biting winds and long, dark winters. They learned to hunt the megafauna, to find shelter from the relentless cold, and to navigate a landscape unlike any other on Earth. Then, something changed. Around 16,500 years ago, the colossal ice sheets that had acted as a barrier across North America began to melt. Two massive ice sheets, the Laurentide in the east and the Cordilleran in the west, had previously blocked any path southward. As the climate warmed, a narrow, ice-free corridor began to open up between them, running through what is now Alberta and British Columbia in Canada. This corridor would have been a challenging route, likely still dotted with enormous glacial lakes and sparse vegetation. For the people of Beringia, it was a doorway into an entirely new world. So, they moved. Why did they leave the home they had known for millennia? Perhaps it was the pursuit of the large game animals that were also migrating south. Maybe it was population pressure, with small groups budding off to find new territories. Or perhaps it was simply the innate human spirit of curiosity and exploration, a desire to see what lay beyond the next horizon. Whatever the reason, they packed their few belongings, likely consisting of stone tools, bone needles, and warm animal hide clothing, and stepped into the unknown. Imagine the courage it took. These were not large armies or organized expeditions. They were small family groups, traveling on foot through a land no human had ever seen before. Every day was a struggle for survival. They faced unfamiliar landscapes, unpredictable weather, and new challenges at every turn. Yet, they persevered. They followed the rivers, navigated the valleys, and pushed ever southward, their footsteps the very first on a continent that had, until then, been devoid of human presence. This journey down the ice-free corridor is one of the leading theories for how the Americas were first populated. But it's not the only one. A growing body of evidence suggests another, perhaps even earlier, route. This is the coastal migration theory. This idea proposes that instead of walking through the interior, some of the first Americans traveled down the Pacific coast. They would have used small watercraft, perhaps simple boats made from animal skins, to hop from island to island and along the coastline, which was then free of ice. This coastal route would have been rich in resources. The sea provided an abundance of food: seals, sea lions, fish, shellfish, and kelp. It was a veritable marine highway. This theory helps explain some of the very early archaeological sites found in South America, like Monte Verde in Chile, which dates back over 14,500 years, possibly even earlier. Getting to a site that far south so early would have been much faster by boat along the coast than by a slow trek through the interior corridor. It's entirely possible and even likely that both routes were used. Different groups at different times, finding their own paths into the New World. The people who made these incredible journeys are known to archaeologists as Paleo-Indians. One of the most famous and well-documented of these early cultures is the Clovis people. Named after the distinctive, fluted stone spear points they created, first discovered near Clovis, New Mexico. For a long time, the Clovis first model was the dominant theory, the idea that they were the very first people in the Americas, arriving around 13,000 years ago. Their beautifully crafted spear points are found all across North America, a testament to how quickly they spread and adapted. They were master hunters, capable of taking down mammoths and mastodons. However, the discovery of pre-Clovis sites, like Monte Verde and others in Texas, Florida, and Pennsylvania, has completely rewritten our understanding. These sites show that humans were in the Americas 1,000 years, or even several thousand years, before Clovis culture appeared. This tells us the story of the first Americans is far more complex and ancient than we once believed. It wasn't a single migration event, but likely a series of waves of people, bringing with them diverse cultures and adaptations. From these first arrivals, a magnificent story of human ingenuity unfolded. Over thousands of years, they spread out and populated every corner of 2 continents, from the Arctic tundra of the far north to the windswept tip of Tierra del Fuego in the south. They adapted to an incredible diversity of environments: dense rainforests, arid deserts, high mountain ranges, and vast plains. They developed thousands of different cultures and languages, built magnificent cities, created profound works of art, and developed complex astronomical and agricultural knowledge. Think about the empires of the Aztecs and the Incas, the intricate earthworks of the Mississippians, the cliff dwellings of the ancestral Pueblones. All of these incredible civilizations, and the hundreds of indigenous nations that thrive today across the Americas, trace their ancestry back to those first brave bands of hunter-gatherers who dared to cross a frozen bridge into a new world. Their journey is not just a story of the past, it's a fundamental part of the human story. It's a testament to our species' incredible resilience, our adaptability, and our unyielding drive to explore. It reminds us that we are all, at our core, migrants. Our ancestors constantly pushed into new territories, driven by need, by hope, by a simple desire for a better life. The peopling of the Americas is perhaps the greatest chapter in that global story of exploration. A journey that began in the heart of the Ice Age, on a lost continent of ice and wind, and ended with the populating of an entire hemisphere. It's a powerful legacy, written not in books, but in the very DNA of millions of people, and in the ancient footprints left on a new land. Thank you so much for joining me on this incredible journey back in time. If you found this story as fascinating as I do, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more adventures into our shared human past. Let me know in the comments which part of this epic migration story you find most amazing. Until next time, stay curious.